r/pettyrevenge roommate chose my ex over me, so I destroyed their business. Roommate chose my ex over me, so I destroyed their business. The sound of my ex-boyfriend's laugh echoing from my roommate's bedroom at 2 a.m. was the moment I knew my entire world had shifted. Not just shifted, completely fucking imploded. I sat frozen on our shared couch, laptop balanced on my knees, surrounded by the remnants of what was supposed to be a productive night working on Maya's business graphics. The same business I'd been pouring my soul into for the past 6 months, designing everything from her logo to her Instagram posts to her product packaging. The business that was finally taking off, bringing in real money, making her dreams of being an entrepreneur actually come true. And now I understood why she'd been so weird lately. Why she'd been taking calls in her room with the door closed. Why she'd been too busy for our traditional Thursday night wine and reality TV sessions. Why she'd been asking me strange questions about my schedule, about when I might be ready to live independently. Jake's voice carried through the thin walls of our cramped apartment, and I recognized the low, intimate tone he used to use with me. The same tone that used to make me melt when we were together for 2 years. The same voice that told me he loved me right up until the day he decided he didn't anymore, 8 months ago. My hands trembled as I closed the laptop, carefully setting aside the product mock-ups I'd been perfecting for Maya's new jewelry line launch. The launch that was supposed to happen next week. The launch that I'd worked countless unpaid hours on because Maya was my best friend since junior year of high school, and you help your best friends achieve their dreams. Except apparently best friends don't help you when your heart gets shattered. They don't prioritize your emotional well-being over getting dick from your ex-boyfriend. They don't consider how completely soul-crushing it might be to hear the person who broke you making the same sounds he used to make with you, just one thin wall away. I crept to my bedroom, each step carefully placed to avoid the creaky floorboard by the kitchen. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya, staying at Sarah's tonight, don't wait up. Red heart. The fucking audacity. Sarah lived in a different state now. I'd helped Maya craft that exact lie for her parents back in high school when she wanted to sneak out to parties. Now she was using it on me. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to them whisper and giggle and do things I absolutely did not want to imagine. My mind raced through every interaction over the past few months, recontextualizing everything. The way Maya had pumped me for information about Jake's new job. How she'd suddenly become very interested in his friend group's social media posts. The way she'd encouraged me to put myself out there and start dating again. She'd been planning this. They'd been planning this. By morning, Jake's car was gone, and Maya emerged from her room with sex hair and a guilty expression, trying to act normal as she made her protein smoothie. She kept glancing at me nervously as I sat at our kitchen island, still in yesterday's clothes, nursing my 3rd cup of coffee. So, she said finally, not meeting my eyes. We need to talk. I set down my mug carefully, my graphic designer hand steady despite the rage building in my chest. Yeah, I said quietly. I think we do. I had no idea that conversation would end with her asking me to move out by the end of the month so Jake could move in. And I definitely had no idea how spectacularly I was about to destroy everything she'd worked for. Look, I know this is weird, Maya said, still not making eye contact as she aggressively blended her smoothie. But Jake and I, we didn't plan for this to happen. It just did. I watched her perform this elaborate dance of avoidance, wiping down already clean counters, reorganizing the fruit bowl, anything to keep her hands busy and her eyes away from mine. The same nervous habits she'd had since high school whenever she got caught doing something shitty. How long? My voice came out steadier than I felt. It's not like that. How long? She finally stopped fidgeting and looked at me, her expression a mixture of defiance and guilt. 3 months. 3 fucking months. I calculated backwards in my head. 3 months ago was when she'd started insisting I join that hiking group to meet new people. When she'd suddenly become supportive of me working late at the coffee shop, encouraging me to pick up extra shifts. When she'd started volunteering to handle the grocery shopping alone. They'd been systematically carving me out of my own life. Maya, I helped you build your entire business, I said, my voice getting sharper. I've designed every single piece of marketing material. I manage your social media. I created your brand identity from scratch. And you're asking me to leave so my ex-boyfriend can move into the apartment I've been paying half the rent for? I know it's complicated. Complicated? I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. What's complicated about choosing between your best friend and some guy? Because it seems pretty fucking simple to me. Maya's face flushed red. It's not some guy, and you know it. Jake and I have real feelings for each other. What you two had, that was over. You broke up almost a year ago. Because he broke up with me. And you consoled me through it. You held me while I cried for weeks. You told me he was an idiot and I deserved better. You helped me block his number when I was tempted to text him drunk. My voice was rising, 8 months of suppressed hurt finally spilling over. And the entire time you were telling me to move on, you were planning to move him in. That's not, we weren't together then. It started way after. 3 months, Maya. You said 3 months. I was still crying over him 3 months ago. She had the decency to look ashamed for about half a second before her expression hardened. Look, I'm sorry about the timing, okay? But I can't help how I feel. And Jake can't help how he feels. We're adults. We're allowed to be together. And I'm allowed to think you're a terrible friend. Fine, she exploded, finally showing her true colors. Maybe I am a terrible friend. But at least I'm not pathetic enough to still be hung up on someone who clearly never loved me that much if he could fall for someone else. The words hit like a physical blow. I actually stepped backward, my mouth falling open. Maya immediately looked horrified. Oh God, I didn't mean. Yeah, you did. My voice came out flat and cold. You absolutely meant that. She reached for me, but I stepped away. No, really, I was upset. I'll be out by the end of the month, I said quietly. But Maya, I'm done with your business too. Find someone else to finish your jewelry launch. Find someone else to manage your Instagram. Find someone else to design your packaging. Her face went white. You can't just abandon everything right before the launch. Watch me. I walked toward my bedroom, then paused at the doorway. Oh, and Maya. You might want to check the business bank account. Make sure you actually know the login information. Because here's what my dear best friend had forgotten in her hormone-fueled betrayal: I didn't just design her pretty graphics. I built her entire digital empire. I locked my bedroom door and opened my laptop with shaking hands. Maya was still calling my name from the kitchen, her voice getting more panicked by the minute, but I tuned her out. I had work to do. See, when you're a broke college student helping your best friend start a business, you make certain arrangements. Like using your own Adobe Creative Suite license because hers expired. Your own Canva Pro account. Your own domain hosting service. Your own business Instagram account that you just happened to put in her business name. Maya had always been the ideas person, while I was the technical person. She'd sketch something on a napkin, and I'd turn it into a professional logo. She'd say, make the Instagram look pretty, and I'd spend hours curating the perfect aesthetic feed. She'd dream about having an online boutique, and I'd build her an actual fucking website. What she never bothered to learn was how any of it actually worked. I opened her Instagram account, the one with 47,000 followers that I'd grown from zero. The one connected to my personal email address because I was the one who created it. The one where I knew every password because I'd set them all up. My finger hovered over my trackpad. I could change the password right now. Lock her out completely. But that would be too obvious, too immediate. Maya wasn't stupid, she'd figure out how to recover the account eventually, and then she'd know exactly who was responsible. No, this had to be more surgical. More artistic. I scrolled through the content calendar I'd meticulously planned for the next 2 months. Maya's jewelry launch was supposed to soft open tomorrow with a teaser post, then build up to the full reveal next Friday. Pre-orders were scheduled to go live on Monday. Everything was perfectly orchestrated to maximize engagement and sales. It would be such a shame if something went wrong. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya: please don't do anything crazy. We can figure this out. Too fucking late for that. I opened her business email, the Gmail account I'd created, organized, and managed for the past 6 months. Her wholesale supplier contacts were all here. Her influencer outreach spreadsheets. Her customer service templates. Her business bank account recovery information. Everything that made her business run smoothly flowed through systems I built and accounts I controlled. Another text: I know you're upset, but think about this rationally. Rationally? She wanted me to think rationally about the fact that she'd been fucking my ex-boyfriend for 3 months while I designed her success for free. I screenshotted our entire text conversation from the past hour, including her lovely comment about me being pathetic and never really loved. Then I opened the draft folder of her business email and started typing. If Maya wanted to play the victim, I'd give her something to actually be victimized by. I crafted a carefully worded email to her main jewelry supplier, the one who'd finally agreed to work with her small business after I'd spent weeks perfecting her pitch materials. The email expressed concern about recent quality issues and requested to temporarily pause all pending orders while we reassess our partnership. I didn't send it. Not yet. But I scheduled it to send Monday morning, right before her launch week. Then I opened her influencer outreach spreadsheet. 15 micro-influencers had agreed to promote her jewelry launch in exchange for free products. I started drafting individual emails to each of them from Maya's account, explaining that due to unexpected supply chain issues, she would no longer be able to provide the promised products or compensation, and that the collaboration was cancelled effective immediately. Those got scheduled for Sunday night. My phone rang. Maya. I declined the call and went back to work. By the time I was done planning the first phase of her business's destruction, my hands had stopped shaking entirely. I felt calm for the first time in months. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls from Maya and a string of increasingly frantic texts. Apparently, she tried to log into her business Instagram around midnight to schedule some posts and discovered she couldn't access the analytics dashboard. Why can't I see the insights anymore? Read her 3 a.m. message. Did Instagram change something? I smiled as I made my coffee. She had no idea that I'd simply downgraded her account access while keeping my own administrative privileges intact. To her, it would look like a random technical glitch. My phone buzzed with another call from her. I let it go to voicemail. Look, I know you're mad, her recorded voice pleaded. But I need to get into the business accounts to prep for the launch. Can we separate our personal stuff from business? I'll find a way to pay you for everything you've done, I promise. Too little, too late. I spent Saturday moving my personal belongings to my sister's place across town, avoiding Maya entirely. She tried to corner me twice, but I'd gotten good at predicting her schedule after living together for 3 years. When she went to yoga at 10 a.m., I loaded my car. When she left for her usual Saturday afternoon coffee run, I came back for round 2. By evening, my room was empty except for the furniture that came with the apartment. Sunday night, I sat in my sister's guest room and watched my scheduled emails deploy like tiny digital missiles. First, the influencer cancellations went out at 9 p.m. Then I'd set up a few more surprises throughout the week. But the real genius of my plan wasn't just the immediate sabotage, it was the long-term instability I was building into her systems. See, Maya had no idea how much of her business relied on integrations and automations I'd set up. Her website used my Zapier account to automatically add new email subscribers to her MailChimp list. Her inventory management connected to my Google Sheets. Her social media scheduling ran through my Buffer account. I wasn't going to just destroy her business overnight. I was going to make it slowly, systematically unreliable. A failed email campaign here. A broken website form there. Missing inventory updates that would lead to overselling products she didn't have. Maya would spend weeks thinking she was just having bad luck with technology, never realizing that her entire digital infrastructure was built on quicksand. My phone lit up with a call from Jake. I stared at his name on the screen, remembering when seeing it used to make my heart race with happiness instead of rage. Now all I felt was cold satisfaction. I answered. What the fuck did you do? His voice was sharp, accusatory. Maya's crying her eyes out because half her launch week just fell apart. I'm sorry, who is this? I kept my tone pleasant, professional. I think you have the wrong number. Cut the shit. We both know you're sabotaging her business. This is psychotic behavior, even for you. Even for me. As if I'd ever done anything remotely like this before. As if I was the one who'd spent months lying and scheming and betraying people who trusted me. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, I said sweetly. But good luck with whatever you're dealing with. I hung up and immediately blocked his number. Then I opened my laptop and logged into Maya's website backend. Her jewelry launch was supposed to go live tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. sharp. The product pages were all ready, the payment processing was set up, the email marketing sequence was loaded and waiting. It would be such a tragedy if the site crashed right at launch time due to a sudden surge in traffic that the server couldn't handle. I opened the hosting control panel and downgraded her service plan to the most basic tier, the kind that could maybe handle 50 concurrent users before everything went to hell. For a launch she'd been promoting to 47,000 Instagram followers. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, "We need to talk. This has gone far enough. Maya." I smiled and started typing my reply. I stared at Maya's text for a long moment before typing back, "Sorry, I think you have the wrong number. I don't know anyone named Maya." Almost immediately, my phone started buzzing with calls from the unknown number. I declined each one, feeling a sick sort of satisfaction with every rejected call that sent her straight to voicemail. But my petty enjoyment was interrupted when my sister Emma knocked on the guest room door. "Hey," she said, poking her head in. "There's someone here to see you." My stomach dropped. "If it's Maya." "It's not Maya." Emma's expression was weird, almost apologetic. "It's her mom." Fuck. Mrs. Chen had been like a second mother to me throughout high school. She'd driven me to SAT prep classes when my own parents were working. She'd helped me apply for college scholarships. She'd hugged me at graduation and told me she was proud of me like I was her own daughter. I found her standing in Emma's living room, looking smaller than I remembered. Her usual warm smile was replaced by deep worry lines, and she was clutching her purse like a lifeline. "Sweetie," she said when she saw me, her voice gentle but strained. "Can we talk?" I felt like the world's biggest asshole. "Mrs. Chen, Maya told me what happened. About Jake, about the apartment situation." She sat down heavily on Emma's couch. "I want you to know that I think what she did was wrong. Very wrong. You girls have been friends for so long, and she should have talked to you first, should have been honest." The validation felt good, but I could sense a but coming. "But honey, this business, it's everything to her right now. She took out loans, maxed out her credit cards. If this launch fails..." Mrs. Chen's eyes were pleading. "I know she hurt you. I know you're angry. But destroying her future won't fix anything." The guilt hit me like a truck. I'd been so focused on Maya's betrayal, so consumed with making her pay, that I hadn't really thought about Mrs. Chen. About how she'd probably co-signed those loans. About how Maya's financial destruction would ripple out to hurt people I actually cared about. "I'm not," I started to lie, but Mrs. Chen held up her hand. "I've watched you grow up, sweetheart. I know how brilliant you are with computers, with design, with all those technical things Maya never understood. And I know how much you love her, even when you hate her." Tears pricked at my eyes. "She chose him over me." "I know." Mrs. Chen reached over and squeezed my hand. "And that was selfish and cruel. But you're better than this. You're better than revenge." After she left, I sat in Emma's guest room feeling like my chest was caving in. The righteous anger that had been fueling me for the past few days was slowly being replaced by something more complicated. Doubt. Guilt. The sick realization that maybe I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. My phone buzzed with a notification. Maya's jewelry launch had gone live an hour ago. Despite myself, I opened Instagram and navigated to her business page. The launch post had been up for exactly 63 minutes and had only 42 likes. For an account with 47,000 followers, that was abysmal engagement. Then I scrolled to the comments and saw why. "Where are the products? The link isn't working. Website keeps crashing. This is so unprofessional. I've been trying to order for an hour. Scam." The server downgrade had worked perfectly. Her website was buckling under traffic it couldn't handle, turning what should have been her biggest sales day into a complete disaster. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt sick. But it was too late to stop the other dominoes I'd already set in motion. Tuesday morning brought a new level of chaos that even I hadn't anticipated. I woke up to my phone buzzing incessantly with notifications, not calls from Maya this time, but mentions on Twitter. My stomach dropped as I opened the app and saw Maya's business name trending. Not in a good way. Someone had screenshot the nasty comments section from her crashed website launch and posted it with the caption, "When you hype up your luxury jewelry line for months and can't even handle basic web traffic, grimacing face #businessfail." It had been retweeted 800 times. I sat up in bed, my heart racing as I scrolled through the thread. Fashion bloggers I'd never heard of were quote tweeting with their own commentary. A TikToker with 200k followers had apparently made a whole video about small business red flags to watch out for, using Maya's launch disaster as a prime example. This was spiraling way beyond what I'd intended. My phone rang. "Emma. Are you seeing this shit?" she said instead of hello. "Yeah, I'm looking at it now. This is insane. How did it get so big?" I knew exactly how. Social media algorithms love drama, especially when it involves a small business failing spectacularly. Maya's crashed launch had hit the perfect storm of secondhand embarrassment and schadenfreude that the internet feeds on. "Emma, I think I fucked up." "You think?" Before I could respond, I got a notification that made my blood turn to ice. Maya had posted to her personal Instagram story. It was a photo of her crying, mascara streaked down her face, eyes red and swollen. The caption read, "When your best friend destroys everything you've worked for because she can't handle you being happy." She tagged me. "Oh fuck," I whispered. "What now?" She's making it public. Like, really public. I watched in horror as the story views climbed. 50. 100. 200. Maya had about 3,000 followers on her personal account, a mix of high school classmates, college friends, family members, and random acquaintances. People who knew both of us. My own notifications started exploding as people began commenting on my posts, sliding into my DMs, taking sides in a drama they only had half the story for. Team Maya. Your friend deserves better than this jealous behavior. Imagine being this petty over a guy who didn't want you skull. But then others, wait, isn't this the girl who was dating Jake? Maya stole her boyfriend and kicked her out. That's fucked up. Everyone calling her jealous, but like, wouldn't you be mad? I was watching my entire social circle fracture in real time. Friends from college were picking sides based on Instagram stories and secondhand information. The group chat from my senior year dorm was blowing up with arguments between people defending me and people calling me psychotic. Emma was still on the phone. You need to fix this. Now. I don't know how. Start by unfucking her website so she can at least salvage some sales. I opened my laptop with shaking hands and logged into Maya's hosting account. The server upgrade would take a few minutes to process, but at least her site would stop crashing. That's when I saw the email notification that made everything 10 times worse. Maya's main jewelry supplier, the one I'd sent that fake quality concerns email to, had responded. But not just to Maya. They'd CC'd 3 other small businesses they apparently thought might want to know about concerning business practices in the community. The email was professional but devastating. Thank you for bringing these quality issues to our attention. We take all concerns seriously and will be conducting a full review of our partnership. In the meantime, we're suspending your account and canceling all pending orders effective immediately. Maya's entire supply chain had just evaporated. And now 3 other small business owners thought she was some kind of scammer who complained about product quality to get out of paying suppliers. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I hope you're proud of yourself. She's talking about shutting everything down permanently. Jake. I stared at the message, my hands trembling. Through the window of Emma's guest room, I could see normal people starting their normal Tuesday mornings, walking dogs, leaving for work, living lives that weren't imploding in real time on social media. Mrs. Chen's words echoed in my head, you're better than this. But was I? Because sitting there surrounded by the digital wreckage I'd created, I honestly wasn't sure anymore. I spent the next 3 hours trying to undo the damage, but it was like trying to stop an avalanche with a teaspoon. The supplier's situation was the worst part. I'd crafted that email so perfectly professional, so convincingly concerned, that reversing it would require admitting to fraud. I couldn't exactly send a follow-up saying, actually, never mind, I was just trying to destroy my roommate's business because she's fucking my ex-boyfriend. I managed to restore Maya's website functionality and even upgraded her server capacity beyond what she'd originally paid for, hoping she might at least capture some sales from the social media attention. But when I checked her order dashboard, my heart sank further. 0 sales. The viral Twitter thread had poisoned the well completely. People were sharing screenshots of her product pages with captions like, this is the girl who can't handle website traffic but wants to charge $200 for a necklace. Her brand was becoming a meme. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I recognized, Sarah Martinez, our mutual friend from high school. Actually Sarah, not Maya's fake alibi Sarah. What the hell is going on? Sarah's voice was sharp. I just saw Maya's story and then Jake posted some long thing about you cyberbullying her. This is insane. Jake posted what? Check his Instagram. I switched to speakerphone and navigated to Jake's profile with trembling fingers. There it was, a lengthy Instagram post with a photo of him and Maya together, her face buried in his shoulder, clearly crying. The caption made me want to throw my phone across the room. I usually don't post personal stuff, but I can't stay quiet while someone I care about gets torn apart online. Maya Chen Designs worked her ass off for months building something beautiful, and watching her dreams get destroyed by someone who's supposed to be her best friend is heartbreaking. There are healthy ways to process jealousy and hurt. This isn't one of them. Maya deserves support right now, not more hate. Hashtag small business support, hashtag bullies win. He tagged 15 of his friends, including several people I knew. The comments were already pouring in. This is so sad. People can be so cruel when they're jealous. Your girlfriend seems amazing. Some people just can't handle other success. Wait, is this about that business launch disaster I saw on Twitter? Yikes. Sarah was still talking. Completely out of character for you. I mean, I get being mad about the roommate thing, but this seems extreme. You don't understand, I said, my voice coming out higher than intended. She asked me to move out so he could move in. After everything I've done for her business. After being best friends for 6 years. Okay, that's shitty, but I built her entire company from scratch, Sarah. The logo, the website, the social media, everything. I've worked hundreds of unpaid hours because I thought we were friends. And she threw it all away for a guy who dumped me 8 months ago. I know it sucks. But look what's happening now. It's everywhere. People are making TikToks about her. This is going to follow her forever. As if summoned by Sarah's words, my phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had made a TikTok using audio from a reality show, She's a Entrepreneur, Honey. Over screenshots of Maya's crashed website and the Twitter thread. It had 50,000 views already. I felt like I was watching a car accident in slow motion, except I was the one who'd cut the brake lines. I have to go, I told Sarah. Just think about stopping this before it gets worse, okay? You're both going to regret how far this has gone. After hanging up, I sat staring at my laptop screen. Maya's business email inbox was flooded with messages, some from concerned customers, others from internet trolls who'd found her contact information. Her Instagram DMs were probably a nightmare. But buried in the chaos, I spotted an email that made my blood run cold. The subject line read, trademark infringement notice, immediate action required. Someone had reported her business name as trademark infringement. Someone who wasn't me. The internet had taken my carefully planned sabotage and turned it into something much bigger, much crueler, and completely out of my control. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma, "You need to see the news. Channel 7 just did a segment about cyberbullying in small businesses. They used Maya's situation as an example. This had just gone from petty revenge to local news story. And I was about to become the villain in a cautionary tale about social media mob mentality. The local news segment was worse than I could have imagined. I sat in Emma's living room, watching Channel 7's Digital Lives segment with growing horror as they dissected Maya's situation like a case study. They'd blurred her face but kept her business name visible, which somehow made it feel more dehumanizing. Small business owners are particularly vulnerable to coordinated online attacks, the reporter explained over B-roll footage of Maya's crashed website. What started as a failed product launch spiraled into a viral pylon that experts say demonstrates the dark side of social media culture. They interviewed some professor about digital mob mentality and the permanence of online reputation damage. Then they showed the fucking TikTok that now had 200,000 views. Emma sat beside me, shaking her head. This is a nightmare. My phone started buzzing. Unknown number. Hello. Is this the psycho bitch who's been stalking my daughter online? The voice was male, older, furious. My stomach dropped. Who is this? Maya's father. And I want you to know I'm talking to a lawyer about what you've done. Cyberstalking, business interference, defamation. I hung up with shaking hands, but the phone immediately started ringing again. Different unknown number. Then another. Emma, they're calling me. Multiple people. Block them all. But I couldn't block what I saw when I opened Twitter. Someone had figured out who I was. A account with an anime profile picture had posted, found that the best friend from the jewelry business drama. My Twitter handle really said, if I can't have him no one can, and destroyed a whole company skull. The quote retweets were brutal. This is what jealousy looks like, ladies. Imagine being this pressed about a man who clearly upgraded. She really said, I'll show you what a toxic friend looks like, and delivered. But the worst part was seeing people I actually knew starting to engage. College acquaintances were liking tweets that called me unhinged. Someone from my senior year graphic design class had quote tweeted with, always thought she was weird in group projects tbh. My professional reputation was disintegrating in real time. Emma grabbed my phone. Stop reading this shit. It's just going to make it worse. It can't get worse. That's when my laptop chimed with an email that proved me wrong. The sender was my former internship supervisor from last summer, the one who'd promised to be a reference for job applications. The subject line read, concerning online behavior. Hi, name. I hope you're doing well. I was made aware of some social media posts connecting you to a situation involving cyberbullying and business sabotage. While I don't know the full story, I wanted to reach out because this kind of online behavior could seriously impact your professional future. Employers routinely check social media now, and this situation is quite visible. I'd suggest consulting with a PR professional about damage control. I care about your career prospects, which is why I'm giving you this heads up. Best. Jennifer. The message was kind, but the subtext was clear. She wouldn't be providing any glowing references while my name was attached to this mess. I closed the laptop and put my head in my hands. I think I just destroyed my own career trying to destroy hers. Emma's voice was gentle but firm. Then fix it. Both of your careers. This has gone way too far. How? The internet doesn't have an undo button. That trademark complaint wasn't even from me, other people are piling on now. The news story, the TikToks, all of it is completely out of my control. Start with what you can control. The supplier situation. The website issues you caused. Give her back the accounts you're holding hostage. I looked up at my sister. And then what? She still chose Jake over me. She still asked me to move out. She still called me pathetic. Fixing her business doesn't fix what she did to our friendship. No, but it might fix what you did to yourself. The weight of that statement settled over me like a heavy blanket. Through the window, I could see normal people living their Tuesday afternoon lives, completely unaware that somewhere across town, my former best friend was probably getting death threats because I'd been too hurt and angry to think past my own pain. Mrs. Chen was right. I was better than this. The question was whether it was too late to prove it. I spent Tuesday night crafting the most humiliating email I'd ever written. Dear Mr. Rodriguez, I typed to Maya's supplier for the third time, my fingers hovering over keys that felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds each. I need to inform you that the previous email regarding quality concerns was sent without authorization. Delete. Start over. How do you explain that you impersonated your former best friend to destroy her business because she's fucking your ex-boyfriend? How do you make that sound professional and sane? My phone buzzed with another unknown number. I'd been getting calls all day, some from Maya's family, others from internet strangers who'd somehow gotten my number. Emma had finally convinced me to put it on airplane mode, but the silence was almost worse than the harassment. At least when people were calling me a psychotic bitch, I knew where I stood. I was on draft 7 of the supplier email when Emma knocked on my door. There's something you need to see, she said, holding her laptop. The screen showed Maya's Instagram story from an hour ago. She was sitting in what looked like her car, eyes red-rimmed and exhausted, but her voice was steady. I know a lot of people are talking about my business situation, she said to the camera. And I know some of you are angry on my behalf. But I need everyone to stop harassing my former friend. Yes, we had a falling out. Yes, it affected my business. But she doesn't deserve death threats. Nobody deserves that. She paused, wiping her nose with a tissue. I'm taking a break from social media for a while. I need to figure out what comes next. But please stop the hate messages. This whole situation has hurt enough people already. The story had a close friend's green ring around it, meaning she'd shared it with her inner circle. But someone had obviously screen recorded it and posted it to Twitter, where it was already being dissected. Damage control much? Face with rolling eyes. At least she's taking accountability, I guess. This is what maturity looks like. Other people should take notes. That last comment felt like a knife between my ribs. Emma closed the laptop. She's protecting you. She's protecting herself. This makes her look like the bigger person. Maybe she is the bigger person. I wanted to argue, but the words stuck in my throat. Because watching Maya take responsibility while I hid in my sister's guest room crafting emails I was too ashamed to send, it was hard to deny who was handling this better. My laptop chimed with a new notification. Another email, but this one made my blood freeze. The sender was legalnotice@hartmanlaw.com. Ms. Last name. We represent Maya Chin regarding recent actions that have caused substantial damage to her business and reputation. These actions may constitute tortious interference, defamation, and cyberbullying under state law. We are prepared to file a civil suit seeking damages unless this matter is resolved immediately. Please contact our office within 48 hours to discuss remediation. Failure to respond will result in formal legal proceedings. Sincerely. Patricia Hartman, ESQ. My hands started shaking so violently I could barely scroll down to see the rest. The email included screenshots of everything, the supplier communication, Maya's crashed website, even the fake Instagram DMs I'd forgotten about. They had evidence. Real, documented evidence of every single thing I'd done. Emma read over my shoulder and whistled low. Shit just got real. They can't actually sue me, right? I mean, what are the damages? Her business was tiny. Are you kidding? The lost sales, the supplier relationships, the trademark issues that other people started because of your original sabotage, this could be tens of thousands of dollars. My entire body went cold. I was a 24-year-old with $3,000 in savings and a credit card I'd been using for groceries. I couldn't afford a parking ticket, let alone a lawsuit. The supplier email I'd been struggling to write suddenly seemed a lot easier. Because apparently, I had 48 hours to fix 6 years of friendship and 1 week of systematic destruction. Or I was going to lose everything. I had 36 hours left when I discovered Maya had beaten me to damage control. Wednesday morning, I woke up to find that Maya had somehow convinced her supplier to reverse the suspension. Not only that, but Mr. Rodriguez had sent me a direct email with the subject line, Fraudulent Communication Investigation. Ms. Last name. After speaking with Ms. Chen, we've determined that unauthorized individuals gained access to her business email to send false quality complaints. We are treating this as a case of business identity theft and have reported it to the appropriate authorities. Any further communication from accounts claiming to represent Ms. Chen's business will be forwarded to law enforcement. Patricia Martinez, Procurement Manager. My stomach plummeted. Maya had somehow spun my sabotage into a story where she was the victim of hackers, not her vindictive ex-roommate. Which was technically true, but it meant she'd gotten ahead of the narrative before I could confess. Now if I tried to come clean to the supplier, I wouldn't just be apologizing for sabotage, I'd be confessing to what they thought was identity theft. Emma found me hyperventilating in the kitchen at 7 a.m. They think I'm some kind of criminal, I gasped between breaths. Maya made it sound like random hackers targeted her business. If I admit it was me now. Slow down. Breathe. But I couldn't slow down, because my phone was buzzing with a call from another unknown number. This time I answered without thinking. Is this my name? The voice was crisp, professional, female. Who's asking? This is Patricia Hartman, the attorney representing Maya Chin. I believe you received our email yesterday. My legs gave out and I sank into a kitchen chair. Yes. Good. I'm calling because my client is prepared to be reasonable about this situation, but our window for an amicable resolution is closing rapidly. The longer this drags on, the more expensive it becomes for everyone involved. What do you want? Full restoration of all business accounts and assets under your control. A written apology acknowledging the damage caused. And compensation for lost revenue during the affected period. How much compensation? There was a pause that lasted forever. Our preliminary assessment suggests approximately $12,000 in direct losses. The number hit me like a physical blow. $12,000. I made $8 an hour at my part-time graphic design gig. It would take me months to earn that much, let alone pay it out. I don't have that kind of money. Then I suggest you find a way to get it, Ms. Last name. Because if we proceed to litigation, you'll be looking at that amount plus legal fees, court costs, and potentially punitive damages. After she hung up, I sat staring at my phone in complete panic. This wasn't just about friendship anymore, or hurt feelings, or even professional reputation. This was about my entire financial future. Emma sat down across from me. What did she say? $12,000. Jesus. Emma, I'm fucked. Like, completely fucked. I can't pay that. My parents can't pay that. I don't even have a real job yet. Then you need to call Maya directly. Lawyer to lawyer, this is just going to get worse. But when I tried to call Maya's number, I discovered she'd finally blocked me. The call went straight to a generic voicemail message. I had 36 hours to figure out how to apologize to someone who wouldn't take my calls, fix a business I'd systematically destroyed, and somehow convince a lawyer that I wasn't a cyber criminal. And I was starting to realize that my week of calculated revenge might cost me the next decade of my life. I was down to 28 hours when I discovered Maya had gone nuclear. My sister's laptop was open on the kitchen counter, and I made the mistake of checking Twitter while Emma was at work. The trending hashtag small business support now had Maya's story pinned at the top, but it wasn't the version I expected. Someone had leaked the lawyer's email to me. Not the whole thing, but enough. Screenshots of Patricia Hartman's letterhead, portions of text mentioning substantial business damage and cyberbullying under state law, and my full name in black and white. The quote retweets were a feeding frenzy. Imagine destroying someone's dream and then getting sued for $12,000 plus skull. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The way karma came for her immediately. But it got worse. Someone had connected my full name to my LinkedIn profile, which led them to my portfolio website, which led them to every piece of professional work I'd ever done. People were leaving one-star reviews on projects I'd completed for other clients, tanking my ratings on freelance platforms I'd spent years building up. My professional identity was being systematically destroyed by strangers who knew nothing about the situation except what they'd read in 280-character hot takes. I called the lawyer's office with shaking hands. Ms. Hartman is in court today, her secretary informed me. But she asked me to tell you that any public discussion of ongoing legal matters may constitute additional grounds for litigation. Translation: shut up or we'll sue you for even more money. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Sarah Martinez. Maya asked me to reach out. Can we meet somewhere neutral? This needs to stop. I stared at the message for 10 minutes before responding. Sarah had been the voice of reason in our friend group since high school, the one who talked us down from our worst impulses and mediated our stupid fights. If anyone could help me navigate this disaster, it was her. We met at a coffee shop halfway between Emma's place and Maya's apartment, neutral territory that felt anything but neutral when I spotted Maya's car in the parking lot. She brought backup. I almost turned around and left, but Sarah was already waving me over to a corner table where she sat alone. Maya was nowhere to be seen, but knowing she was nearby made my skin crawl with anxiety. Before you ask, she's not coming in, Sarah said before I could speak. She's waiting in the car because she was afraid you'd leave if you saw her. I slumped into the chair across from her, feeling like I hadn't slept in days. Which was true. How bad is it? Bad. She's been getting death threats, weird packages sent to her apartment, people calling her parents' house. Her dad wants to press charges beyond the civil suit. My stomach dropped further. Criminal charges. The business email thing legally counts as identity theft in this state. The website sabotage could be computer crimes. And that's before we get into harassment and stalking charges. Sarah's voice was matter-of-fact, but her expression was sympathetic. You really fucked up. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you started a war you can't finish and now you're surprised that there are casualties. Through the coffee shop window, I could see Maya's silhouette in her car, phone pressed to her ear. Probably talking to her lawyer, or her parents, or Jake. Planning my complete destruction while I sat here learning just how thoroughly I destroyed my own life. What does she want? I asked quietly. Sarah leaned forward. She wants her best friend back. But she'll settle for making this stop before it ruins both of your lives permanently. The cruel irony wasn't lost on me. After everything I'd done to hurt Maya, she was still trying to save us both. I was running out of time to figure out if I was worth saving. What kind of deal is she offering? I asked Sarah, my voice barely above a whisper. Sarah pulled out her phone and scrolled through what looked like a lengthy text conversation. Full account restoration by midnight tonight. Public apology on all platforms where this got spread. And she'll drop the civil suit if you can figure out the criminal charges. What do you mean, figure out the criminal charges? Her dad called the FBI cybercrime unit yesterday. Sarah's words hit me like ice water. Apparently crossing state lines with business email fraud makes it federal. Maya's been trying to talk him out of it, but he's convinced you're some kind of criminal mastermind. Federal charges. I felt dizzy just thinking about it. Sarah, I'm not a criminal mastermind. I'm an idiot with a laptop who got her heart broken. I know that. Maya knows that. But her father sees his daughter getting death threats and he wants someone to pay. Right now, that someone is you. Through the window, I watched Maya get out of her car and start pacing in the parking lot. Even from a distance, I could see how thin she'd gotten, how her clothes hung loose on her frame. The Maya I knew stress ate entire pizzas when she was overwhelmed. This version looked like she'd forgotten food existed. There's something else, Sarah continued, her voice getting quieter. Jake broke up with her yesterday. I looked up sharply. What? He said the drama was too much. That he didn't sign up to be part of some viral internet war. Sarah's expression was disgusted. Apparently he blocked her number and told their mutual friends he needed space from the situation. The news should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like watching someone kick Maya while she was already bleeding on the ground. So she lost her business, her reputation, and her boyfriend because of me, I said numbly. And her best friend. Don't forget that part. My phone buzzed with an email notification. The sender name made my blood freeze, FBI Cybercrime Division, Detroit Field Office. Oh fuck, I breathed, staring at the subject line, investigation #CC 2024-0847, request for interview. Sarah leaned over to see my screen and went pale. They want to interview you. I opened the email with shaking hands. The language was formal, sterile, terrifying, voluntary interview regarding alleged violations of federal computer fraud statutes, recommend legal representation, failure to respond may result in additional charges. They wanted me to come in Friday morning. 2 days away. Sarah, what do I do? I can't afford a lawyer. I can't afford anything. My parents are going to disown me when they find out their daughter is under federal investigation. Through the window, Maya had stopped pacing and was staring directly at the coffee shop, like she could sense that something had shifted. Her phone was pressed to her ear again, and I wondered if she was talking to her father, maybe trying to convince him to call off the federal dogs. There might be a way out, Sarah said carefully. But you're not going to like it. At this point, I'll take anything. Maya's dad will drop everything, civil, criminal, federal, all of it, if you do 2 things. First, you publicly admit to everything. Not just a generic apology, but a detailed confession about exactly what you did and why. My stomach churned. What's the second thing? Sarah hesitated, then met my eyes. You have to do it on camera. He wants a video statement that he can send to the FBI, showing you taking full responsibility and explaining that Maya was the victim, not the perpetrator. He wants me to confess to federal crimes on video. He wants proof that his daughter isn't a criminal. And right now, the only way to clear her name completely is to destroy yours. I stared out at Maya, who was now leaning against her car looking exhausted and defeated. In trying to hurt her, I'd created a situation where saving herself meant sacrificing me. And I was starting to realize that maybe I deserved it. I sat in that coffee shop staring at the FBI email, and suddenly my phone started buzzing with an incoming call. The caller ID made my heart stop. Mom. Fuck. Somehow, they'd found out. I have to take this, I told Sarah, my voice barely steady. Honey. My mom's voice was strained, confused. I just got the strangest call from Mrs. Chen. She was crying and saying something about lawyers and the FBI. What's going on? The coffee shop suddenly felt too small, too warm, too public. I could feel other customers glancing at me as my voice cracked. Mom, it's complicated. Complicated how? She said you've been harassing Maya online. That doesn't sound like you at all. Through the window, I watched Maya answer her own phone, probably getting the same family emergency call. Her face crumpled as she spoke, and I realized this nightmare had just expanded to include both our families. Mrs. Chen is exaggerating, I lied, hating how easily the deception came. Maya and I had a fight about the apartment situation, and some things got out of hand online. What apartment situation? And why would that involve the FBI? Sarah was typing furiously on her phone, probably updating Maya on this new crisis. Behind my mom's questions, I could hear my dad's voice in the background asking what was wrong, demanding to know what was happening to his daughter. I can't explain everything right now, I said, which was true. How do you tell your parents that their daughter committed federal crimes because she couldn't handle her roommate dating her ex-boyfriend? But I might need help with legal fees. The silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. How much legal fees? Mom's voice had shifted from confused to terrified. I'm not sure yet. Maybe a lot. Sweetheart, we don't have a lot. You know that. After your father's surgery last year and the mortgage refinancing. I did know that. My parents had been struggling financially since Dad's heart attack forced him into early retirement. They'd already borrowed against their house to pay medical bills. The last thing they needed was their fuck-up daughter dragging them into a legal nightmare. I have to go, I said quickly. I'll call you later when I know more. I hung up and immediately saw 3 missed calls from my older brother, 2 from my aunt, and a text from my cousin. Mom called crying about FBI and lawyers. WTF did you do? Sarah looked up from her phone. Maya's getting the same family meltdown. Her grandmother in Taiwan somehow heard about it and has been calling everyone in panic mode. This is insane. How did it get to our families so fast? Mrs. Chen probably called your mom because she's scared and doesn't understand what's happening. Maya's been trying to protect everyone by not explaining the details, so all the parents know is FBI investigation and lawsuit. My phone buzzed with another notification, this time from LinkedIn. Someone had sent a message to my professional account. Hi there. I'm a freelance journalist working on a piece about cyberbullying in small business. I'd love to get your side of the Maya Chen story. This could be a great opportunity for you to control the narrative. Let me know if you're interested in an interview. A journalist. Perfect. Because apparently this situation needed more public exposure. Sarah, there's a reporter trying to contact me now. She grabbed my phone and read the message, her face going pale. Do not respond to that. Do not talk to any reporters. That will only make the federal investigation worse. How can it get worse? Media attention on federal cybercrime cases tends to make prosecutors want to look tough on internet criminals, she said grimly. Right now you're just a heartbroken girl who made bad choices. If this becomes a news story, you become an example they need to make. Through the window, Maya was now sitting on her car's hood with her head in her hands, still on the phone. Probably getting the same lecture about reporters and prosecutors and ruined lives. The video confession is looking better, isn't it? Sarah asked quietly. I stared at the FBI email still open on my phone, at the family crisis exploding across my notifications, at the journalist who wanted to turn my stupidity into content. Yeah, I whispered. It really is. I agreed to make the video confession, but Maya's father had conditions that made my blood turn to ice. Sarah read them off her phone like a grocery list, full admission of guilt for all charges. Detailed explanation of how you accessed her accounts. Acknowledgement that Maya was completely innocent. And you have to do it at the police station, with Detective Morrison present as a witness. Detective Morrison. My voice came out as a squeak. Maya's dad doesn't trust that you won't try to wiggle out of it later. He wants an official police witness to make sure the confession is legally binding. I slumped back in the coffee shop chair, feeling like I was drowning. Making a private video to send to lawyers was one thing. Confessing to crimes in front of a police detective was something else entirely. That was the kind of statement that could be used against me forever, in any future legal proceeding. What if I refuse? Then the FBI interview happens Friday, Maya's dad presses full charges, and you're looking at federal prison time plus civil damages that could follow you for decades. Sarah's voice was matter-of-fact. Oh, and the journalist who contacted you. She called Maya too. Apparently she's writing the story either way. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. Mom called me crying. She's booking a flight here tonight. What the fuck did you do? Great. Now my mom was flying across the country to witness her daughter's complete life implosion. The woman who still proudly showed my college graduation photos to strangers was about to discover that her daughter was a cybercriminal. There's something else, Sarah continued, scrolling through her messages. Maya's business Instagram got hacked this morning. Real hackers this time, not you. They posted porn videos to her stories before she could get control back. I felt like I'd been slapped. What? Someone saw all the drama and decided to pile on. Posted graphic videos, changed her bio to something disgusting, DM'd explicit messages to her followers. Instagram shut down the account entirely while they investigate. The irony was devastating. I'd spent a week carefully sabotaging Maya's online presence, and now actual criminals had finished the job in one morning. Her Instagram account, the one I'd grown from 0 to 47,000 followers, was just gone. She lost everything, I whispered. Pretty much. The Instagram account, the supplier relationships, her customer email list, Jake, and now the FBI thinks she might be connected to the porn hack too since it happened to the girl from the business sabotage story. Through the window, Maya was back on the phone, gesturing frantically. Probably talking to Instagram support, or the police, or her lawyer about this new nightmare that had nothing to do with me but everything to do with the chaos I created. Sarah, I have to ask, why is she still trying to help me? After everything I've done, why isn't she just letting me burn? Sarah was quiet for a long moment, watching Maya through the glass. Because she knows you. The real you. And she thinks if she can save you from federal prison, maybe someday you two can figure out how to be friends again. Even after I destroyed her life. She destroyed your friendship first, Sarah said quietly. The Jake thing, asking you to move out, she knows that was fucked up. She's been carrying guilt about that since before you started your revenge campaign. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize with a local area code. Don't answer it, Sarah warned, but I was already sliding to accept the call. Is this the girl who's been cyberstalking Maya Chin? The voice was young, male, aggressive. Who is this? Maya's cousin. And I want you to know that if you don't fix this shit, we're going to make your life a lot more complicated. The threat in his voice was unmistakable. Maya's family wasn't just pursuing legal action anymore, they were getting desperate enough to consider other options. I hung up and stared at Sarah, whose face had gone white. How many cousins does Maya have? I asked. 3. And they all have very strong opinions about family loyalty. The video confession was starting to look like the least dangerous option available. I made the video confession at 3 p.m. on Thursday, sitting in a sterile police station interview room that smelled like disinfectant and broken dreams. Detective Morrison was younger than I'd expected, with kind eyes that made the whole thing somehow worse. It would have been easier to confess to someone who looked like they enjoyed watching people suffer. State your name for the record, he said, adjusting the camera. My name is, full name, and I want to confess to systematically sabotaging Maya Chen's business over the past week. My voice was steadier than I felt. Everything I'm about to say is true, and Maya had no knowledge of any of these actions. I spent 20 minutes detailing every piece of sabotage, the fake supplier emails, the website crashes, the social media account manipulation, all of it. With each admission, I watched Detective Morrison's expression grow more serious, like he was calculating prison sentences in his head. And you did all of this because, he prompted when I finished. Because I was hurt and angry that she chose my ex-boyfriend over our friendship, and I wanted to make her pay for that choice. The words tasted like ash. I thought destroying her business would somehow fix how betrayed I felt. Instead, I just became someone I don't recognize. When it was over, Detective Morrison turned off the camera and leaned back in his chair. You know this confession could still be used against you if federal prosecutors decide to move forward, he said. I know. But Maya doesn't deserve to have her life destroyed because I couldn't handle my emotions like an adult. 2 hours later, I was sitting in Emma's living room when my phone rang. Maya's number. She unblocked me. It's over, she said without preamble when I answered. Her voice sounded hollow, exhausted. Dad called off the FBI. The civil suit is dropped. You're not going to prison. Maya, I saw the video. Detective Morrison sent it to our lawyer. She paused, and I could hear her breathing on the other end. Why did you do it? The confession, I mean. You could have just disappeared, changed your name, started over somewhere else. I stared out Emma's window at the normal world continuing its normal existence. Because I realized that the person I became this week isn't who I want to be. And because you deserved better from your best friend. Former best friend, she corrected quietly. Yeah. Former. We sat in silence for almost a minute. Then Maya spoke again, her voice softer. For what it's worth, I'm sorry too. About Jake, about asking you to move out, about the way I handled everything. I was selfish and I hurt you, and that doesn't excuse what you did, but I wasn't innocent in this. You didn't deserve to lose everything because of my tantrum. No, she agreed. I didn't. But maybe I needed to lose some things to figure out what actually mattered. 6 months later, I ran into Maya at a coffee shop downtown. She looked healthier, happier somehow. She was with a girl I didn't recognize, someone with bright purple hair and an infectious laugh. How are you doing? Maya asked when our eyes met across the shop. It was the first time we'd spoken since the phone call. Better. Therapy helps. And I got a job at a nonprofit. They were surprisingly okay with hiring someone with a documented history of learning from massive mistakes. Maya smiled, and for just a second, it felt like we were 17 again. I'm glad you're okay. You too. Your business. Dead and buried. But I'm in grad school now, studying social work. Turns out getting destroyed and rebuilt gives you perspective on helping other people through crisis. We talked for 10 more minutes about safe topics, family, weather, anything but the nuclear crater where our friendship used to be. As I walked away, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. Not at Maya, not at Jake, not even at myself. Sometimes the best revenge is becoming someone who doesn't need it.